So we have created our enemy scene. Now let's set about animating our enemy. In this section, we're going to make its pincers go up and down and its little tracks move. Then in the next section, we will use our script to actually make it move in the game. Okay, with Robot Crab selected, click on the plus and we want an animation player. Animation player. There we go. Okay. And we want a new animation. We actually want to move left and move right. So I'm going to go move left first because our sprite is facing left. Excellent. And the first thing we need to do is make sure that our player detectors are in the right position. Okay, they are in the right position as we start moving left, as our enemy is configured now. But you have to imagine it's going to go left for a bit, it's going to go right for a bit. If it's been going right, the player detectors will be out of place. So let's add a track for our player detectors and make sure they're always in the right place to move left before we start moving left. So property track, player detector front, position. Where are we now? If I just tick position, there we go. And as it happens, it is still in the right position. So if I just keyframe it, so I go, just in case you've forgotten, move the mouse over the blue line, press Control, click. It says insert key. And then I click on the key and it tells me my position. So my position is -23 and 1. That is correct. That's all I'm going to do. Okay. I need to do another one for the rear player detector. Property track, player detector rear, position, mouse over. Make sure it's on the line that says position, because if you go there or there, it won't go. And Control click, insert key, click on the key, and I get 21. So it's plus 21 this time and -6. That's fine. That's all good. Right, let's make our little pincers move and our tracks move. Add track, property track, sprite 2D, and we want frame. There we go. Now this time I'm going to go back and I'm going to go, so I click here to go back. Oh, no, sorry, no. I click on sprite 2D and I find frame. And I'm on frame 0 and my playhead is at 0. So I'm going to keyframe frame 0. So just press that little key there. And it's moved my playhead along 0.1 of a second. And it's moved my frame to 1. So that's what I want. So I will keyframe that. It's moved it along another 0.1 and moved the frame to 2. So keyframe that. And move the frame to 3. So keyframe that. And now let me check I've got that right by sliding my slider. I think that's good. Let's just play it a sec. Bring it back to 0. Oh, it's very slow, isn't it? So very quick. So if we put it to 0.4, that's the length of our animation because that's the final frame. That's where the playhead is after it's played the final frame. So we change it to 0.4. And we set it to loop. So click that to set it to loop and try it again. That's pretty good. It's lagging a little bit. That's because I'm editing a previous video as I'm doing this, but that's pretty good. So that's move left, and that's the easy one. So I'm going to stop that. Move the playhead back to 0. Now, new animation, animation new, move right. Again, we want to change the position of the player detectors, but it's easiest to do that after we've changed the sprite. So, add track, property track, sprite 2D, frame. We don't want that as the first frame, so I'm going to go to sprite 2D. We want the first frame where it's facing right, so it's that one, it's frame 4. So I've got my playhead on 0, and I've got frame 4 there. I select the little key to keyframe frame 4. And you'll immediately see now that the player detectors are in the wrong position, okay? So we'll do that later. It's advanced me 0.1 of a second, and it's gone up to frame 5, so keyframe that. It's up to 6 and 0.2, so keyframe that. And it's up to 7 and 0.3, so keyframe that. And it disappears. All right, that's great. Let's change it to 0.4, because that's where the playhead is once it's finished, and set it to loop. Right, just bring it back to 0. And what we want to do is move this player detector that way and this player detector that way. I'm hoping it's going to be quite easy, but let's give it a go. Add track, property track, and player detector front. Position. Mouse over, control click. Insert key. Click on the key. Now, it is in the position that it was when it was moving left. So I'm hoping if I just change that minus 23 to plus 23, it should work. Did it work? Didn't work, did it? Yeah, it did work. So it's moved it, you see? Just moved it over there. Right, let's do it again. Check the playheads at 0. Add track. Property track. Player detector rear this time. Position. Control click. Insert key. Click on the key. So it's 21. And I'm going to change it to minus 21. And it hasn't moved, but that should move it. So if we play our animation now, it's moved both of them. And it should be moving right. Okay. Almost too easy.